So if you are here for the Inclusiveness and Intimate Apparel Marketing and Campaigns panel, you are in the right spot. If you are not here for that, I encourage you to stick around because it's going to be really fun. If you don't know who I am, I'm going to give you a quick introduction to who I am and what we're even talking about up here. And then I promise I will introduce these lovely humans. I'll also introduce you to our two proud sponsors, Notori and Parfait. Then we'll have a Q&A, then we'll have some questions with these lovely people here so they can give you their insight. Then we'll have a Q&A. So if during this whole process something comes up that you want to ask any of these people or myself about, please think of it so you can ask us later. And then we'll all hang out afterwards so that we can have a really fun time together and just keep the conversation going. That's what this is actually all about today, is a conversation. I promise you we're not going to solve the issue of inclusivity in the next 45 minutes together. But what we can do is start the conversation so that we can then take steps together. In fact, that is my goal for us today. So, my name is Kim A. Caldwell. If you don't know who I am, I've been in this business for 14 years. I actually started as a bra fitter, and then I opened up my own marketing company in 2014. That's why this topic is really, really special to me. And one of the reasons that I opened it was because out of the thousands of people that I was supporting on a daily basis, if there's retailers here, you know, like, you see everything in that fitting room, right? But I wasn't seeing all of those people reflected in the marketing campaigns. I wasn't seeing all of those people having products that could actually serve them and their unique bodies. So I started that company specifically to talk to people in a kinder way about themselves and their bodies and to be more open. So now I partner with a lot of different brands in the public or here, teaching people bra fitting in the Paris Expo and all of that good stuff. But one of the very first things that I remember being kind of like affected by whenever I saw people was exactly how different all of those customers are. So anyone here a retailer and have a store? Yes, okay, great. We're especially hoping to support you today. So we're gonna talk to the brands, I wanna support you as well, but it's you who are working with the people one-on-one in the stores or online. That's where we are here to support today. So when we talk about inclusivity, there's a lot of miscommunications about what that could mean and what that, sorry, I'm gonna be distracted by fans, what that means or what we're actually talking about here today. And again, we're not here to tell anybody you're doing it wrong. What I want you to do is take an honest look at where you are, where your company stands, so that then you can take one step from there, and then one step from there, and then one step from there, and just to open up the possibility of what you can do in your store. So by inclusivity, we mean, how can you include people who are not already included in your space? How can we as an industry include people who are not already represented within this space? That is what we're talking about today. And marketing and campaigns, specifically because you can visually see these people, and it's how you communicate that to people that, hey, not only are we inclusive, we want you to know about it. We're gonna tell you about it, we're gonna show you that. That's what we're talking about. Okay. So let's introduce you to these lovely people. This is their information here, including my own. So if you would like to connect with any of these people, I will not be upset with you for on your phone Instagramming them right now. I actually encourage you to. So we're gonna start with Amandine Taylor on the top right. Amandine, can you just raise your hand for us so we know who you are? This is Amandine. Amandine Taylor is the brand and social media marketing specialist at Parfait. She graduated from Mod Art International in Paris, France, and Amandine became a fashion expert with over a decade of experience in retail, product development, buyer, and marketing. Her multicultural background and keen eye for style has made her a valuable ally for brands like Joseph, Esther Bonte, and Jean-Paul Gaultier, whom she's worked with. After moving to Los Angeles for love, adorable, Amandine joined the marketing team of Parfait, focusing on strategic and operational activities. She was able to associate her work with her passion, focusing on redefining beauty standards and promoting a message of diversity and inclusivity. Today, Amandine is proud to share and promote products with an authentic and empowering message for women. Can you please help me welcome her? Thank you. First of all, it's Curve Day 2, so we need to get a little more excited than that. It's also National Underwear Day here. I know! Can we get excited, please? Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, next on our list is Ken Natori, directly to my right. So Ken is the president of the Natori Company, a designer fashion brand with collections ranging from ready-to-wear, lingerie, and sleepwear to home textiles, fine jewelry, accessories, bath, fragrance, and legwear. They do it all. Before becoming president, he ran the company's e-commerce and licensing businesses and also helped oversee the finance, public relations, and marketing departments. Prior to Natori, Ken worked as both a TV and radio reporter for Bloomberg and in international equities at Lehman Brothers. Ken holds an MBA from Stanford University's Graduate School of Business and a BA from Amherst College. Please help me welcome Ken. Next on our list is Laura Henney. Laura, say hello. Laura is the owner of the Rack Shack, which is a phenomenal store in Brooklyn. Since you're all local today, right now, please go and visit her shop. Not today, she's here. After studying theater at the University of Amsterdam, Laura worked as a publicist and production manager for the prestigious musical theater company Orchestra, thank you, fellow musical theater person, I love that. But an ongoing urge for adventure and the privilege of having dual citizenship ultimately took Laura to New York. There, she managed restaurants and bartended, but her dream was to build a company of her own. When she discovered that, even in a cosmopolitan city like New York, it was difficult to find attractive bras for larger cup sizes, her concept was born. The Rack Shack is an inclusive bra boutique in Bushwick, Brooklyn, that aims to empower customers of all shapes, colors, and genders. It's a stylish and fun environment with a friendly, knowledgeable staff, and they're proud to offer their services in a body-positive space where everyone feels welcome and sexy. Please welcome Laura. Next up is Tiffany. Tiffany, please say hello to everybody. So Tiffany Cole Allen is the co-founder of the Lingerie Collective, a professional organization that provides a networking community and business resources for individuals and entrepreneurs within the intimate apparel, swim, and activewear industries. Prior to starting the LC, Tiffany was a technical designer specializing in the fit of intimate apparel for 12 years, working on product for retailers such as Victoria's Secret, Aerie, and Walmart. After the birth of her daughter in 2016, she realized the dire need for change in the culture of the industry when it came to the many professionals and how they felt supported in their career goals. She, along with her partner, Claire Hills, created the Lingerie Collective to promote and encourage an environment of engagement, inclusion, and encouragement amongst colleagues in the business. Please welcome Tiffany. Next up, Nikki Rossos. Nikki is a model and activist using both her voice and platform to bring visibility, inclusivity, and safety to the trans community. As a model, she works to merge the cisgender-dominated fashion industry with the often underrepresented or altogether forgotten trans presence. Nikki's resume spans across editorial, print, and runway, while also using her experiences to mentor fellow trans individuals to increase the representation of her community in the fashion industry and beyond. Big round of applause for Nikki. Okay, thank you for bearing with me while I get through all of these amazing stories. These are really awesome people that we have here. And again, you might be wondering why I am the person hosting this or moderating this. This is not my first time doing this. So back in October, I hosted a panel on inclusivity with specifically around size inclusivity, which is where I think a lot of us start when we're in this business, right? Because we know people need sizes and need products that fit. And so we specifically talked to designers at that time. Then in February in Paris, I did a panel on the intersection of fit and function. Then here at Curve New York, thank goodness for them, we talked about inclusivity in general, and now we're back specifically focusing on marketing and campaigns at this time. So, as a cisgendered, which means my gender matches what I was, my birth, so as a cisgendered, white passing person who's in a heteronormative marriage, by the way, today is my wedding anniversary, Annie. Like I have a lot of privilege within this industry, which means I can safely shop at almost any store. I can typically find something in my size. That's not true for everybody. So I could sit here and be silent, or I could speak up and create things like this and welcome people like this and let them take the stage to talk to us about how we can take steps together. So that is what we're gonna do. Next. let's talk about our beautiful partners. So first up is Parfait. There it is, Parfait. So you're gonna get a little taste of Parfait's marketing and campaigns. This is just their current one. They've been really consistent with their inclusive marketing for a while here, but I'll give you a little taste of it just so you can see what we're talking about. So many hands, okay. So just to give you an idea of who Parfait is, they are dedicated to fit and innovative style. Parfait collections are designed in both fit and silhouette to elegantly embrace and enhance the body from petite to full figure. Styles range from bras and briefs to non-wire bralettes and best-selling baby dolls, sports bras to nursing bras, bridal lingerie to under-the-gown bustiers. I like how it rhymes. Committed to size inclusivity, Parfait collections come available in an expansive size range of 28 to 44 bands, A to K cups, and extra small to 4XL bottoms. So I know Parfait pretty well as a fitter myself, and you'll see this campaign is one of their newest ones, and this is the Power of Perfect, which Parfait means perfect in French, cute little play on words. But you'll see, and you might even recognize some of these lovely people, especially all the way to the left. Those of us in the lingerie industry know the Elizabeth Dale. But they have created this campaign specifically to showcase some of the people who are forgotten, who are not shown, but are actually purchasing their products, or who they want to know, hey, you're welcome to purchase our products. We want to serve you. So here's a little taste of some of their beautiful marketing. So as a fitter, I was so pleased, and you'll see that bright red bra on the top right there, and also I think they're both, actually I think they're all wearing it in that picture, I apologize. So that's their Charlotte bra, which the Parfait booth is right over here if you want to go visit them. That bra saved me a ton as a fitter, because it's a cute, molded, lower price product that comes up to a K cup. And you would be surprised how many people just felt relieved that somebody actually made something that fits them. I see heads nodding, right? Like just the fact that I could go in the back and be like, I hope I have something for this person, and made the world of difference, not only for our business that I was working in, but also for that person in her life to feel included and special and sexy. So I'm forever thankful for the Parfait Charlotte bra, and now they've made even more steps in who they serve and how they represent that. So this is Parfait.
When you Google perfect, it's nothing that looks like me or anything that looks remotely similar to who I am.
So many women have been left out.
And we don't see those people, and if we don't see them, we don't get to know them, and we're actually missing out.
That type of women that they've been working with, those models that have been even them retouched and just modified, edited.
It's giving people freedom.
Changing who I am and who I feel I am to be perfect is not even like on that spectrum.
Let them know that their bodies are not any different from most of all of us.
It's giving women an opportunity to find confidence, to be bold, to be energetic and be themselves, even like on set.
It is so important that now we show something more real, and that all women can relate to what, to the commercials, to the advertisements that they see everywhere.
It was just so awesome to have a group of creatives pushing positive body images, welcoming stretch marks, welcoming even people with disabilities.
I think for the lingerie industry to, embrace that and embrace different types of bodies, different ages of bodies, different colors of bodies, I think that's the best thing they can do, because we're really celebrating what our nation was built on.
They have a large outreach, they have a large network, they are seen by thousands and thousands of people, so it will help influencers, but also the girls who are growing up right now in this society, the next generation. I am Manon.
Michelle Entman.
Marsha L.
I'm Elizabeth Dale.
I'm Candace Kelly.
I am Noor, and we are the Power of Perfect.
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 And we are the power of perfect.
We are the power of perfect.
We are the power of perfect.
Next up is Notori. So Notori is also very familiar to me as a bra fitter and as someone in this industry. And I think because Notori has been around for so long, I just kind of like thought of them as like, yeah, they're here. And the fact that they've been around for, I think it's over 40 years now, and are still making changes, that to me is the most impressive part. Because they have great products, they could just stick with making great products and let that be that. Instead, they decide to make some changes within their industry, within their company, and then our industry. So here's a sneak peek at their latest campaign. This is called the My Natori campaign, and as you can see already, we have a person over a certain age, we have a person of color, and then we have some of these beautiful imagery here. In that top left one, you'll see is a big focus for Natori going forward because they have started to introduce different skin tones, and none of them are called nude. Not a single one is called nude, which I truly appreciate. So let me read you just a little bit about Natori if you're not familiar. The House of Natori was founded in 1977, and today is one of the fashion industry's most recognizable designer brands. Each of the Natori brand collections, Josie Natori, Natori, and Josie by Natori, there are several, is a reflection of the namesake designer's distinctive East-West aesthetic. So again, as a fitter, being able to fit someone into something that has a different skin tone is, again, if you come in and you're a person of color, you have darker skin tone than me, and everything is suited for me only, that's not very inclusive. So just creating something with different skin tones is one step in the direction of being inclusive. Such an awesome campaign, and really they're putting steps behind just the marketing with their products. Okay, so now let's talk to these amazing humans. So we said a little bit about what inclusivity was at the very beginning, but let's just be clear here, okay? So Ken, we're gonna start with you. And you had said that a lot of people think of inclusivity in terms of models and sizing, but we at Natori try to think of inclusivity on a much broader scale. So what is inclusivity, and how is Natori putting it into practice?
Thank you, Kamei, and thank you guys all for coming. This is a great topic, and I just want to start out by saying, I'm not up here because I think we at Natori are doing everything right by any means. I think we have made progress. Some things we're doing okay, and other things we need to make a lot more progress in. I'm up here, like I said, this is a very important topic, and it's great that it's drawn so much interest. And we all want the same thing. From customers to retailers to brands, we want people to feel included, and we want to be able to cater to everybody. So that's good. Like, we're all there together, but it's not always easy to achieve all of these things that all of us want. So I'm here because, I think from a brand perspective, it's very easy for customers to say, this brand should be doing this retailer should be doing that. That's easy, but I think there are a lot of facts too behind it that make these things sort of more complicated than we all want them to be. So I'm here because, I try to be very transparent and here to share, I can sort of explain what goes on from a brand's perspective or from our perspective, specifically about, how do we think about this? What are we able to do? What do we wish we could do that we can't? That's the kind of stuff that I'm excited to share with you guys. So, but in terms of how we think about inclusivity, like I said, we've made some progress in terms of our marketing. We've made some progress in terms of our product as well. We do view inclusivity a little bit more holistically. I think, one thing that we're trying to promote a lot more is a lot more connection to our product. Years ago, I joined the business 12 years ago, and the mantra back then was always, product speaks. If we can make great product, that's all we need to do, and the product will speak for itself. And I think that's really not the case anymore. Now, customers want to feel a connection with that product, so whether it's through sizing, whether it's through fit, whether it's through color, that's one element, but also what we've really been trying to do is to make people feel a lot more connected to our brand and to the people behind it. So, we're still a family-owned business. We push a lot more in terms of, in terms of the people behind the business, in terms of our manufacturing, and in terms of really trying to create that connection. So when we think of inclusivity, we really probably put it in a little bit of a broader bucket than most.
Love that. Anyone else have something to add? If not, I have some examples here. Yeah? Okay. First of all, what is marketing? But I think we all know. Okay. Inclusion is the golden rule of fashion. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. This is from Callie Ventresca. So I've included some quotes along the way because it's pretty difficult to be a fully inclusive panel with only 6 people. So this is an example of thinking outside the box and how can I include other people in this conversation whose voices are just as important and need to come through. So if you were at the panel in February, you might recognize just a few of these. I thought they were so important to include again, but I have some fresh things for us to take a look at too. This one is from Pansy St. Badish, a model. I almost said she, that's not her pronoun. They go by they, so it's one thing to be inclusive is you can think about people's genders and ask them what pronouns do you use. So they use they, and they say, to me, inclusion isn't just about inviting people to the table, but having a table they can get to and a seat for them when they get there. It's easy to speak to people, but putting in the effort to listen is what will ultimately lead to change. This one is from Devlin, also a person of trans experience, and she says, to me, inclusion is more than just having your ads feature the prettiest folks from a given group of people. I don't have the perfect cis woman body. I need something that fits me. So again, making sure it's personal and most people can enjoy it. So let's go over to Tiffany. So traditionally, there are groups of people who are already represented or included and can shop with ease and safety. And then there are those in need of inclusion. So just talk to us, what are some of the groups of people who need inclusion and why is it so important to include them?
So I think that some of the groups that are still needing inclusion are specifically transgender and women of color. Women of color across the board. That means transgender as well as plus size. For me personally, the experience of being a plus size Black woman, it's important for me to see myself in the marketing of brand. And not just one of me, but multiple of me. That lets me know that, okay, I can go here, I can shop here. This color will look amazing on me because I see someone like me wearing that color. If there's no one there that looks like me or is the size that I am wearing your product, then I just probably would skip right over that brand because to me it doesn't, I can't relate. So that's why it's important to include so many different people within your marketing campaigns and not just one in a group of 6 or 7, but actually, you know, that whole, maybe your group of 6 or 7 has 4 or 5 and then one of the other.
And also it's about being consistent, not just the one time, but like consistent basis.
Absolutely. I mean, it's to have inclusion, you either want it to actually change your company or you want it to be a marketing ploy. And customers can absolutely see through when it's just a marketing ploy. Brand awareness and brand devotion with the customer comes from them being able to know that that's their brand that they can come to. And if they can only come to you one time and it works, and then they come back again and it doesn't work, they won't be back again.
Yeah. Any other groups of people who are in need of inclusion that they can think about? Yeah?
If I can say, disabled people.
Yeah, people who are differently abled. Yeah.
Especially in the intimate apparel industry, I feel like body with disability are really underrepresented.
Totally.
And it's true that at Apparel we're trying to make a point to represent those people.
Totally. And both physical and mental different abilities as well. Anybody else?
Even just to add on to that, I'm sorry, even in age, women, you know, older women being represented as well. My grandmother's 85 years old and she still likes to wear lingerie. She still wears bras, she still wears panties.
Yeah.
And she's always asking me, you know, what's a good brand for me to wear? She's now a single woman. She wants to feel beautiful underneath her clothing and she deserves to be able to.
Totally, good point. Anyone else?
Well, just, it's a very obvious group of full-busted women.
Totally.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's one of the great strides that our industry has already made or is making in a really great way. And now it's like, great, what's the next step? Who else can we start including? Anyone else that we're forgetting? And again, there's so many different groups out there, but these are great places to start. Anyone else? I feel like that's a good list to start with. Okay, great. Next, Nikki, it's one thing to be able to shop for inclusive products because they exist or are accessible, and another to see yourself represented by that store in their marketing. What is the real importance of representation in marketing, and why do consumers really care or need to see themselves in a campaign?
I love that. So I got into the fashion industry because I grew up not seeing myself in the imagery that I was told that I was supposed to look up to. And I know how damaging that was as a young trans person, and I know how dangerous that continues to be. Not just for me as a trans person, but also for any disadvantaged minority. And I think that brands don't understand the weight of their social obligation that they have to actually create imagery that represents the world that is around us. When you don't see the world that is around you in the media and the imagery that is fed to you, you become scared of the world that truly is around you, because that's not the idyllic world that we're supposed to be seen. And specifically, when it comes to trans women of color, they are one of the highest recipients of violence in the not just the queer community, but also in minorities as a whole. And if we were represented, then people wouldn't be so put off when they saw us, because if they saw us in who we are, because granted, I'm not the perfect representation of what it is to be a trans person, and I understand that. But I understand as well, though, that being visible it takes away the fear that is associated with us. And that is something that is so important, that you're doing more than just pushing product. You are truly shaping the way the world sees communities.
I love that. Let's hear from some more people. This is Hillary. She's here. Hello, Hillary. Consumers, and this is a consumer point of view I love, consumers are the ones buying the products. They are either giving rave reviews or trashing the brands on social media or by word of mouth. Even if they don't think they are an influence, they are marketing and inspiring whoever sees what they wear and by what they post about. In other words, your consumers are becoming your marketing for you. I love that. This is from Ashley. She says, when I see inclusive variations of models and mannequins, even if they don't reflect just my body or abilities, I feel welcome in looking at those products. I feel intrigued because it is so out of the norm right now, and I want to know more about the companies that are trying to bridge this gap. I love this part. I feel inspired and also hopeful that in the future, we won't need to discuss why it's important to include the expansive variety of humans on Earth in ads. Really great point. And this is from the lovely Elizabeth Dow. She says, the intimate apparel world should represent the diversity we see in our everyday world and fit with the melting pot premise of our nation. And especially today, where people often choose hate over education or understanding, it's even more important. And of course, she is featured in that Parfait campaign. Okay, next up, Laura. So Laura, your store is very inclusive, and she is a one-woman shop. That's why her shop is closed today, folks, because she is here doing this important work. So she works hard, like many of you that are here, and being inclusive can require extra effort and focus. So the question is it worth it? And if you can come up with like an example of when being inclusive and your dedication to that practice has paid off for you, either in your customer's life, in your life, or even financially for your store.
It is definitely worth it. Also, especially because my whole business is based on it. It's why I opened it. I wanted to be inclusive. But it's emotionally worth it because you get so many people that are so thankful and they feel good about themselves and they leave the store with such a good place, in such a good place. So for my customers it's worth it. I've had so many women in transition that came shopping for their first bra and were in tears, and that feeling of helping someone so much is incredible. And then plus it's also just good for business because you have such a bigger group of people that can shop in your store. So if you communicate that everybody's welcome, and I think that is very important to communicate it because otherwise people don't know that they can shop at your store. Because as a woman that had an age cup when I was 12, I was very used to going with my girlfriend shopping and being on the sideline because they didn't have anything in my size. So at a certain point, it wasn't fun anymore, it was hurtful. So then I wouldn't go anymore. If you go to a place where you can shop with your girlfriend no matter what color, gender, size you are, it's empowering and you don't feel weird or awkward. So I think it's important.
Absolutely, I love that imagery of like taking people from the sidelines and really including them. That's amazing. Are you gonna add something?
Yes, if I can add a point, like I feel also if you are inclusive and welcome people that cannot shop anywhere else your size or feel that they're welcome, you put even less effort into making your customer faithful to your shop because you are so precious and so exceptional to them. Your effort in every day into the loyalty, putting the loyalty to your customer is effortless.
Yeah, that's like a customer service 101 thing too, right? Like really serving your customers really brings back the benefits tenfold. Are you gonna add something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I have so many peers that are a bigger bus, and they're always asking me which brands are good brands that I can shop at. That is the number one question that I get. So when you cater to people like that, you do so much for your own marketing just by word of mouth, because you know you have people that are like you. You surround yourself with people that are like you, and when they come to you and ask you those things, you're like, oh yes, actually I buy all of my bras from the Rack Shack. So there you have a new customer right there.
Your customers become your marketing. One more?
So to piggyback off of that, so I have a lot of trans sisters who are preoperative and are still looking for ways for undergarments that will assist them in achieving a more feminine body style. And even if companies or even if certain stores don't have those products, there are brands that do have them. So I think that it's everyone's service to, take a pill, like take the humble pill, and then give that business to someone else, just to help someone else. Because if they do that, then they'll come back to you most likely because, hey, this person helped me.
And again, it's all about service. Love it. Okay, this is a quick one. Down the line, let's give some examples of brands that are doing some inclusive marketing right now. We already have Parfait and Notori as phenomenal examples, but who else is doing this? We're gonna start with Nikki and just come this way and just list off a couple for people to you can go look at what they're doing or take interest in what they're doing and see if you can do some of this in your own store or brand. Nikki, we'll start with you.
So Aerie just did the Aerie Real campaign.
Curvy Kate and Scantilli, they include a lot of different shapes of bodies and different colors of people, and yeah.
Lonely Lingerie, which is a quite recent brand, but they start from ground zero, promoting directly inclusivity, and I really admire that.
Look them up on Instagram, actually. She said Lonely Lingerie. They're really great with their different ages and skin tones and having really great authentic marketing. Anyone else?
Yes, Playful Promises, who just did, they just featured Lena Bloom for their 15th anniversary shoot. And then also Evelyn and Bobby is very inclusive with sizing and using women of color in their advertising.
The one that I just thought of actually is it's called Slick Chicks.
Love.
So it's a different type of underwear, the buttons on the side, but they've been really good about promoting the fact that it supports the disabled.
Yes, and I'll tell you, we had Helia's quote up here last panel. She's the founder of that company, and she realized that this was a good solution for not only people who may be working out and have like those sweaty leggings on, and you like sweat through your underwear, and you can just take your leggings out and undo the underwear and put a fresh pair on. But she also realized, wow, this is really helpful for someone who is differently able. So adaptive clothing is becoming a really, really, I want to say trend, but it's just something that I think we're talking about on a more regular basis, and something that you can carry within your store. And again, it also supports people who are incontinent or pregnant, and they might leak a little, and they can just take the underwear off without having to change their entire outfit. It's a really, really cool product. Okay, any other ones I forgot? No, I think those are good places to start. Okay, so the next question is for Amandine. Parfait's professional photos. Oh, and you know what? Let me share this image first. This is from Vandana. She says, the conversation needs to shift from how we look to how we feel to be truly inclusive. The industry has the honor of catering to not just different races and body shapes, but also to people who choose to identify themselves as women. It's one of those moments in history where we can empower in one sweeping gesture. We should embrace the challenge and showcase the power of fashion as an enabler. And by the way, if you are an inclusive store or brand, or you know someone, please contact me here. I'll have this URL up at the end as well, but this is, I'd love to create a good list so when people want to know, well, who is inclusive? Who can I stock? Or where can I shop? Please let me know here so that I can send people your way. So this is an example of some of Parfait's social media work and other people posting on their behalf. So, Amandine, Parfait's professional photo campaigns include a diverse group of people, as you can see here, and so do the images of real customers and ambassadors that you reshare in social media. So, how does creating or finding and then curating this mix of different images into the brand's marketing support its commitment to inclusiveness? And what kind of feedback have you gotten?
Yes, so we've been doing that over 2 years now. It's true that saying that you're inclusive internally and trying to show it through your product nowadays is not enough. We are into a society that is imagery consumption. You need to showcase that you are inclusive. That's why it's very important for us to showcase all our influencers, our campaign, our real customer as well. Well, to be honest, like since we built over years this reputation about being inclusive through the product, we thought that showcase in the first place, of course, like when we launched our campaign, we put out the picture on our social media platform, our website. So we believed that our followers was only made of people who have the same values as us, who connect to those values and will only well welcome this type of campaign. Well, we got a little surprised when we published that, especially on Instagram, where, you know, like you can randomly get on a page and comment. People feel really free to do that. So
that's one way to put it, yeah, sure.
So some people, unfortunately, start to put bad comments about, oh, why do you showcase women with curves? Like, are you promoting fat people? Or comment really, really hard to read, to hear. And we can, in the office, we kind of freaked out in a way. Oh my God, we thought like that would be only well welcome. Like, we don't understand. Well, those people obviously weren't really our true followers. They were kind of random. But the beauty of it is that our community gets stronger and we reply back to those people and say, look, like, here's our safe zone. It's where we want to see that. It's where we are coming to see that. If you're not happy about it, just leave. And then we felt relieved. We were, okay, that works. That works. And it was a really great feeling to see how our community can come together and defend each other. It was really beautiful.
And I think when you're true to your true customers, and that's the thing, if you're trying to be inclusive just to be inclusive and you're actually including people you really want to come into your store, or you really want to serve, when you're really true to your customers and true to your values as a company, the people will come, they will support it. So there might be haters, but it is super, super important to be true to who you are. The next question is for Ken, and I have this fun example here. So this is from Ken's Instagram, and you'll see the My Notori campaign up there at the top, and then underneath is actually his family, which I thought was adorable.
Not that guy on the right.
Not that guy on the right, no, you're right. Not the guy sitting outside with the lovely lady and children. So I actually got a really great text message from a friend of mine who knows I work in the intimate apparel industry, and she said, oh my gosh, I just saw this My Notori campaign on the subway, and it's like so inclusive and so cool. She had probably heard of Notori, but this got her like so excited about the brand. She was just so into it. And so I'm coming to you, Ken, with this question. And the question is, the campaign goes beyond social media marketing and distribution. See the subway ad. But what was the reason for that, and what successes or frustrations is your team finding with the different methods of marketing this kind of campaign?
Yeah, so it's funny, I joined the business 12 years ago, and as I think back, it all seemed to make sense back then, but for somebody to interact with our brand back then, you could see our product out on somebody, but outside of that, to interact with our brand, you either had to be at a high-end department store, or you had to be looking through a fashion magazine. And And that was kind of it, and now it's like, God, that's insane, right? So as we thought about, this series of Minatori campaigns that we've done, we also wanted to think differently about distribution and really promote the campaign in places and through channels where everyday people would interact with them more, which is not necessarily always high-end department stores. So we have for the past couple of years, as we've done a number of these campaigns. Last year we did bus shelters, we did taxi tops around the country, taxi TV, and this year we took it kind of a step further, doing more taxi TV, and this is the first time actually a couple months ago when we started doing it in subways, both in New York and in Boston. And we've had a very it's been a great, it's been a fun campaign. It's really been fun. I think people get genuinely excited to interact with your brand in a channel, through a channel with which they haven't necessarily before. So we certainly plan to continue with more iterations of this campaign and sort of hopefully distribute it in more unexpected places as well.
Bringing it to the people, I love it. So Tiffany, let me see if I have some examples here first for us. So this is Ana Rey. She's from Spain. She was actually on my panel in Paris and has a wonderfully inclusive store in Spain. And she says, it's important to specialize and extend your offerings. The world has changed, digitized, and globalized. In the past, it produced global products, for example, a bra that would be good for the greatest number of women, but that managed to be not bad for all, but not really perfect for almost anyone. So she has this wonderful, wonderful social media, and she uses real customers. She showcases people that she takes these pictures, like, basically in a park nearby her store. And then she produces a calendar every year featuring her own customers, feeling amazing, providing, hey, look, this is who shops here, you can shop here too, kind of examples. So this is just one example if you have a store or a brand where you can support the people who shop there and have them support you. So Tiffany, this question is for you. How can a company practice being inclusive without being something for everyone? Can a store or brand specialize and still be inclusive, and how?
Yes, a brand and a store, or a brand and or a store can specialize and be inclusive. The two are separate from one another. Your product is your specialty, but including everyone shouldn't be an issue, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to go in a store and buy something because you targeted me as a woman of color. I want to go in a store and buy something because I like it, because I want to be a target customer because of my spending habits or because of my aesthetic or the fashion that I like to wear, not particularly because I'm Black or I'm plus sized. So I think that you can specialize in a product and include everyone at the same time as a customer or a target customer.
Anyone want to add anything to that? That was a great answer.
Yeah, because my store is, for example, known as more like a sexy, flirty, forward store, but I'm inclusive in my marketing. So, like, yeah, if you want more full coverage everyday bra, I might not be your store.
Great point.
But it doesn't mean that I don't exclude any groups, basically.
Like, I would want to come to your store because I like sexy stuff,
yeah.
Not because you're featuring, you're reaching at me to come to your store, but because I actually like it and you offer product that I can wear. That makes sense.
Yeah, go shop tomorrow. You should go shopping there. Sounds great.
Well, tomorrow I'll be here, Wednesday.
Wednesday, go shopping there. Everyone go to the Rack Shack in Brooklyn on Wednesday. Were you gonna add something? No? Okay, great. So next, Nikki, I heard you say inclusivity means an authentic willingness to include minority and underrepresented communities or persons without the ulterior motive to profit off of said community. So we all are in business here. So if a store or brand is marketing to an underrepresented group, how can consumers know when it's legit and not just profiting off of a trend or a group of people? And what can a company do to get it right?
Okay, so the scary part is that it's really hard to differentiate between authentic inclusion and pandering. And honestly, I don't know if there's a way to differentiate between those still. The problem is, though, is that when you are reaching towards those specific minorities, you are just becoming, you're becoming another statistic. And when it's inauthentic, the people that you are the people that you're trying to grab aren't going to want to come to you. And we see this very notably in the recent Victoria's Secret scandal, how last year it was said that trans women would never be in the runway show because we aren't a part of the fantasy. And since then, the whole runway show has been canceled for this year. And recently, recently one of my friends was actually, who is trans, was just enlisted for the first Pink campaign, which I'm very happy for her and I'm very proud for her. But it seems like quite interesting timing considering the stocks are dropping. So what I would say is that if you are trying to be inclusive, if you're going to be about it, be about it. Make sure it's 365. Don't just put up your pride flag 1 month a year to profit off of the queer dollar. Because just because we are a minority doesn't mean that we are your monkey to dance around.
I could not have put that any better myself. Right, can we have some applause for that? That was perfectly stated. Thank you. I knew I asked
She's got a brain.
I knew I asked you for a reason.
She's not just blonde and tall.
And going back to what we said earlier too about the consistency, right? If you do a one-time campaign to be like, look, we include these people, and then you aren't following through, or it's not consistent, that people can tell. Consumers are not know when you're faking it. For example, Jessica here says, we can tell if your heart is in it and when you're just trying to grab our dollars. The future is inclusive, and if you don't get in gear, your business is going to be left behind. I think that is really true. And by the way, if you haven't gotten the Revealed magazine yet, it's there. I actually will plug this myself, but I just want to do this because I think this will support you. There's an article in there about authentic marketing and how to make your marketing authentic. Again, whether you're a one-person shop doing this on social media or whether you are a big brand, it is important to be inclusive, and it is possible. Okay, the next one, we have an example here from The Rack Shack. So Laura, your store communicates your commitment to inclusivity with great clarity on your store's website. Please notice on her website it says bra sizes up there with a huge range and everything in between. No body shaming, trans friendly, everyone is welcome. Look below that it says The Rack Shack. The Rack Shack is an inclusive bra boutique, blah blah blah. And then the picture, I don't think you can mistake that this store is welcoming everyone. Okay. So, the website is one way that she does it, but how else does your store market and communicate its inclusivity in the brick and mortar location, for example, or social media? And what is a good step for some of the lovely retailers here that they can take to do that as well?
Definitely on social media. How I make the social media inclusive is portraying basically my friends. I live in Bushwick, Brooklyn, New York, which is a very diverse place. And it's a very queer-friendly place. And I have a lot of friends of color. I have a lot of queer friends. I portray my mom. It's just it's life. It's people. We're people. We're all becoming all these different shapes and sizes. So, and I feel that just portraying a different amount of people in your social media is very important. And if you can't do it yourself with a campaign, just try to look for the brand's images if they're inclusive enough, or influencers, or any of those images, because now social media is an amazing hub of images of beautiful, diverse people. So, and also, I have the trans-friendly, everyone's welcome, no body shaming. I have that on all my printed, my business cards, my flyers, my sandwich board outside. So, and then also in the store, I try to use gender-neutral language. I try to always emphasize on beauty of people. Don't criticize bodies. If I have to explain something about a fit, I say, you're beautifully tall, or I try to always keep, show the positivity of somebody and not make them feel weird or different or,
I think one of the number one things that you can do to include people is to just be kind and welcome them. Even if that's the first time someone like that has shopped in your store and you don't have experience with that person, you can say, hey, I'm learning, you're welcome here. That's a really great way to do it. So here are some examples. This is from Nathaniel Gray, who runs a really great organization called The Proud Path that helps people and their families go through the coming out process. He says the internet has forced companies to be more inclusive because if you don't sell the one piece that someone loves in a size 18 or in a darker skin tone, another seller out there does, and they're gonna get the sale. This is from Karen. Karen couldn't be here, she just was in surgery, but Karen has started her own line of undergarments for the trans community because her daughter is a person of trans experience. And she says, as the mother of a trans woman and working closely with other trans-identifying individuals, I'm truly committed to seeing my brand and others showing up for the community. The first step in achieving this is to listen to their wants and needs, and here she is at a really great event for the trans community. Oh, are we here yet? Yes. Yes, okay, sorry. So this is Sonia from Forever Yours. Hello, Sonia. And she says, make sure your selection and what you are promoting on social media aligns together and is authentic. People see right through it when it's not. So Sonia has she has a really great shop up in Canada, and she has some really great examples of how they communicate on their social media. So here, for example, they have two different people in the same bralette in different sizes, so that you can see, look, we include different people here. They also have people of different skin tones. This is an event that she had in the store, and then this is a person who has a different medical need. Again, thinking about these people and then sharing them and communicating to people, we actually have these products for you and you are welcome here. Okay, next, Amandine. So not all retailers have 1 billion hours to take all these social media photos, right? So how can a retailer partner with a brand like Parfait to use their inclusive marketing most effectively? Or what other steps can they take to be more inclusive?
There is different tools that you as a retailer you can use. First of all, will be very simple. You probably carry multi-brand into your store. You can just email them and ask them for the campaign, for the picture, the catalog picture where they showcase different cup size, and just publish that on your social media. That will be your first baby step that doesn't cost you a lot and can, promote out there that you're trying to take a step to be more inclusive and spread the word. Other little tools that can be done into a store, is like we have a tendency to put the smaller size in front of the rack. Why not display your bigger cups? Take it out from your stock room, put it on the shop floor. So if somebody look at your window shop, see through your merchandise, they can directly see you have bigger cup and they will feel, attracted by it and be welcome. Another little investment that could be done, and that's really nice as well, is it's having a mannequin into your window shop that is a plus size or full-busted woman, that looks like your inventory. You can also do, that's a bit more, I don't know if tomorrow you can do it, but maybe think about it if it happened that, when you hire somebody, why not trying to diversify your staff?
Yes.
If you tick a box of a petite full-busted, why not next time get a curvy woman with a big breast? Or, without discriminating your recruitment is not what I'm talking about here, let's be clear. But trying to make your staff as well look like your customer who is coming into your shop or the customer you want to attract.
That's a really good point.
More or less that cover. Yeah.
I'll add one thing, which is if you are doing these campaigns, like if the brand is doing that campaign and they have people that they're working with, influencers, or people are using that hashtag, you can reach out to those people and say, hey, can I share your image? Bloggers love to have their images shared, so go ahead and share it. And they don't own a store, so you can say, hey, here's this best-selling bra that we carry in our store on so-and-so. Come into our shop and purchase it. We're gonna add something?
Yeah, I was actually going to add to what she said about diversifying your staff. I think that's important for the industry as a whole, not just for retailers, but brands as well, because to be inclusive of customers, you need to understand their thoughts, you need to understand their ideologies, and how they feel, and what makes them want to buy a product. And you really can't guess. You have to actually talk to those people and have those people at the table when those designs are being created and when those marketing campaigns are being brought to the table and decided on to say, yes, this will work, or no, this won't work. And a lot of the times, a lot of businesses make the mistake of not having those people included, and they have a marketing campaign or they have a design that absolutely is the wrong thing, and then they don't find out about it until they've spent the money and put it out there, and the backlash happens. But if you have people at the table in the beginning, then that eliminates a lot of that.
Absolutely. Final thought. Go ahead.
Just to reassure you, like inclusivity covers so many things. Taking baby steps, like you're doing the campaign, but you don't have the staff yet. It's okay. You can, you just smile to the customer who mention what you do not, and say, look, like I'm hearing you. I promise you, next step, I will try to think and take another step on that side.
One step at a time.
Yes.
Love it. I'm going to go through some of these a little bit faster because I want to get to our beautiful questions and answers, but I love, this is just a great point from Sonia Renee Taylor. She's a phenomenal book. Go buy it. She says, radical self-love demands that we see ourselves and others in the fullness of our complexities and intersections, and that we work to create space for those intersections. And then finally, I want to read this. It's a long one, bear with me, but this is really important. If you are a person who owns a store and you maybe you're not an underrepresented group, this is why it's so important to still do this work. So this is from Joanna Hoffman, who's from Athlete Ally, a really great organization that works as allies to the LGBT community, specifically in sports, but it filters into this as well. And she says, an ally recognizes that toxic masculinity, white supremacy, and their manifestations, including racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, hurt all of us, and that we all have a responsibility to proactively work to dismantle them. Being an ally starts with examining our own belief systems and honestly and unflinchingly and committing ourselves to actively listening to and centering the voices of marginalized populations. To live in allyship is a constant, lifelong process of having often uncomfortable and difficult conversations with ourselves, our family members, friends, colleagues, and teammates about the impact, not intent, of words and actions, and how seemingly harmless biases and beliefs can cause lasting harm to the people around us. I get goosebumps every time I read that, and I've read this so many times because that is why this is so important that we take these steps today, and I'm so proud of you all for being here and being a part of the process.
Can I piggyback off of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we hear this word privilege thrown around a lot, right? And the thing about privilege, in my opinion, as a trans, white, cis-passing individual, is that it is not your fault if you have privilege. It is your fault if you don't use that to better the lives of those who don't have it.
Amen.
And that is honestly something that we need more of in every facet of our life, especially marketing and retail.
Beautifully said. Again, I feel like I'm going to applause again. So this is, Josh Burnoff says, we are all listening here. The best listeners will end up the smartest. So again, listen to your customers, listen to the community, see what needs to be done. Okay, so now it's time for some Q&A. Again, I've got these lovely people up here with their information so that we can take, you can tweet at them, share some of the things that they've said here, connect with them, ask them questions. But now is a chance to ask them questions right here in person. So we have a question over here already. I think I'm gonna run this over to you. Yes, what is your question?
So my question is actually directed at Tiffany, but is for everyone who has an opinion and an answer. I have a size-inclusive lingerie brand called Liberté. We launched in January, and I'm independently owned, and so therefore I don't have a wellspring of funding, and so we do our best to be not only size-inclusive, but we use a diverse range of models in a diverse range of sizes. We go from 32C to 38H. But again, I'm an independent brand, so I really wanted to make sure that the product that we do have is beautiful, fits well. We fit on 3 different size fit models, but we do not make B cups yet, and we do not go into 40 band yet. And so my question for you is, how do I articulate not only my desire and my willingness to include those sizes once we can, fundamentally afford it, but how do we maintain interest for women who we don't necessarily cater to? I Like, I would never want them to be like, oh, well, they don't carry my size right now. But when we do, I obviously, want them to come and feel welcome.
Anyone? Go ahead.
I think that you can possibly find ways to say that on your website that B-Cup's 40 band coming soon, or if you have social media and you have people reaching out and saying, well, hey, you don't have 40 band, be proactive in responding to those customers and saying, eventually we will get there. Please stay in tune with us. Please continue to follow us. We will get to servicing your size eventually, because I think it's more so about customer service for people to say, if you don't have it, that, okay, eventually it will come, so I'll keep following this brand.
Okay, so you feel that saying eventually, or, our intention is to have this. Because I don't want to say coming soon, because it's like the coming soon really depends on it.
Yeah, I think that you can say eventually. I think for most customers now at this point, it's if a company is transparent, what makes them relatable. You know what I mean? So if you're transparent and you're real, it's a real thing that you need funding to be able to provide those sizes. So you can't get mad at the truth. Some people can, but most people won't.
Some people will, and that's okay.
Yeah, and those are the ones that you don't want to be your customers, essentially, because they'll probably find something to complain about anyway.
If I can add something, I might have an advice for you. Definitely transparency is a base, a card to play, especially when you're small and you're trying to grow. You seem young with a lot of passionate for intimate apparel, and I believe you guys have a lot of knowledge, technical knowledge. We know that smaller cup requires all the mold, etc. Why not just putting up an educational page on your website, and then you put a little link to fund a foundation platform and say, look guys, I want to do it. This is why technically as a small brand I cannot afford it. If you play transparent, people who connect to you will respect that, and they will probably call their friend. Look, you remember this cute bra you wanted to buy, they don't have it in Geeka but they're trying to. Don't you want to put $5, $10 in the foundation bucket, and you might be surprised how fast it can go.
Good point.
Even having, maybe a contact page where people who don't have sizing say sign up, to let us know. If we don't have your size included, sign up to let us know what your size is, so that you know exactly how many customers you have that are interested in that, and you could potentially send out an email blast when you finally do get those sizes arranged.
I have one point too. First off, congrats on making it this far. I know being independently owned, it's very difficult, very challenging. So congrats. But also, I think your story highlights a really an issue that a lot of brands face now. Is that, to me, you should be celebrating the fact that you're offering up to H. But I think what a lot of brands, given the Twitterverse and given everything, this inclusivity issue can sometimes be a little dangerous, because for all the people that are crediting you for what you're doing, there are also people out there who say, oh, you're doing this, but really you should have been doing this a long time ago, and you should also be doing X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. And it's just, so I think all of us here, customers, retailers, brands, we should be celebrating progress. If I would have thought 10 years ago that there'd be a panel at Curve talking about inclusivity in marketing, much less the fact that we, as a company, and all of us here would be up here to participate in it, I'd be like, wow, that's amazing. And yes, there's so much more that all of us can be doing, but also I think we should be celebrating that we've gotten here so far and that it's going to continue.
Well put, Ken. Do we have any other questions? Yeah.
Hi. So my question's really for Nikki and Laura. So we do mastectomy, we do first fittings, we do elderly. And I have had now two trans clients, and I went in, I fit like any other client, and one was really kind of heartbreaking because they emailed us and said, I was at another store, and it was a big brand store, and they called me a freak and told me to get out. Will you fit me? And the owner and I were like, absolutely, we'll fit you. And they actually just lived right around the corner from where our shop is. And she came in, and she's still transitioning, but she left feeling beautiful and wonderful and trying on lingerie, and we got bras for her. But having only fit two, and you want to include everybody, and I know the wording we use for, I love my curvy girls, because I'm not curvy, I'm kind of straight up and down. I love my curvy girls, and having had not breast cancer, but cancer myself, I can talk to clients that have had cancer. So is there wording or things to say to make them feel even, make these women or, whoever's coming to make them feel more comfortable? Because you don't want to say the wrong thing and make them feel uncomfortable,
For sure. So first of all, it's okay to make mistakes. It's something that's ingrained in us, in our community, that we almost expect people to make those mistakes, but as long as they take credit for that and then rephrase it, it's fine. But with that said, you said that you've only fitted 2 trans women. Keep in mind though that 1 in 20,000 people are transgender. That means that technically, if we put this into perspective, you fit 40,000 people. So that is something that just because we aren't as common as everyone doesn't mean that you aren't doing good work. If someone comes into your space, and it's okay for you to call it out and say, look, I am new to this, but I'm gonna make my best effort, that will give someone so much peace of mind that you don't need to be perfect. Just as long as you say, hey, I'm here for you, and we're open to this, and we're gonna make it through this together, you're in.
Beautiful. What a thoughtful question. I love that so much. Anybody wanted to add anything? Maybe Laura?
Well, you can also fill it out a little bit, also on how much they want to personally tell about their story and their transitioning. Because sometimes, you don't know in what stage they are, and you want really, so give the opportunity for the trans women to talk and to tell their story, and if they don't, that's okay too. Yeah.
I'll add one thing to that, because I've helped a lot of people with trans experience, and there's...
She actually was the first person to fit me ever in a bra.
Really?
So, yeah.
My honor. But also you have to remember, some people, just as Laura's saying, like some people might really come in nervous and be like, you have to really treat that person both as any other customer, but also know they have special needs. And their needs might be physical and emotional. So just like you are helping people after breast cancer, which is an absolutely emotional and physical need different than another person, they might also have physical and emotional needs that's different than your other clientele. And then there might be some people that are like, I want to be like everybody else, please don't treat me any differently. So just using your intuition as a person, as a woman, to like interact with them and see like how much of the special needs and attention do they need here will go a long way. And asking them. Yeah. Normal questions about bra shopping.
Treating everyone like they're a normal human being, normal air quotes, that will do more than anything you could ever do. Just treating us like we are human, because so often we are dehumanized. By giving us back our humanity, you're doing great, sweetie. Like, don't worry.
Good encouragement. Any other questions? I think we don't have a ton of time, so who has another question? It's okay for you to ask another question. Yes, come on over. And stand just a little bit this way so you're not in front of the microphone.
So I don't really have as much of a question as a comment, but one of the things as a plus-size woman myself that bothers me is all of the photoshopping. And so, like, I even see plus-size bloggers who have smooth skin and no wrinkles and no cellulite and no lump in their tummy, and my tummy doesn't look like that. And I mean, for me personally, what I do is I put pictures of myself on social media. So I am all over social media in my bra, and I try to, if I hire models, I hire models and I don't Photoshop them. But what advice can you give, I would say especially to the brands, because I feel like the brands include plus-size women or women of color or trans women, but everybody's Photoshopped. They look perfect. Their skin is perfect.
Want to go first?
I think, because I've also done some plus size modeling as well. I did a swim shoot with Malia Mills, and they also don't do photoshopping in their images. And for me, it was kind of like seeing myself, I was just like, oh gosh, but then I was like, no, this is actually pretty beautiful, you know what I mean? Like, it's real. And I think that brands sometimes get caught up in the idea of the image, as opposed to just saying, this is the product, our product is great, it looks great, it fits great, and it will sell. We just need to put it on people who look real, you know what I mean? You get caught up in the image of the advertisement and it, you know, looking a certain way. And even in using models who are curvy, who aren't, you know, don't have like the regular shape, the desired curvy shape, I should say, that most people are like on trend with now. I think selecting models that have real bodies is something that brands can do. Not just choosing a plus size model that actually has a small waist and a larger hip and a larger bust, that hourglass figure, but actually choosing real models and real women to do their campaigns.
From a fashion perspective, my job is being photoshopped, and that sucks. And because of it, I've dealt with my own parts of body dysmorphia because I'm so used to being airbrushed, and then I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh, this is not what I'm seeing on, a billboard. Where was I going with this? Oh no. Oh, right, okay. Okay, it's okay to be a trailblazer. And one of the things that I've discovered through working on my own, personal projects is that if you have a really great photographer, and if you need names, I'll give you names. If you have a really great photographer, you don't need Photoshop to make it beautiful. And as long as the images tell the story, then you're doing your due diligence.
I will also add that I've been committed to no Photoshop on my site for 5 or 6 years. Now, mind you, we look very different. And so I realized not everybody is going to look like me or whatever, right? But so I started doing my own campaign called More Than My Numbers with other people who are also not photoshopped, who look nothing like me, or much fuller size, or different skin tones, or different ages, or have no breasts or anything, right? But the thing is, the thing that did it for me, and again, maybe retailers here get it, was that as a young person, when I started bra fitting, I was seeing the perfectly airbrushed images in magazines, and absolutely was comparing my body to that as imperfect and then therefore bad. And then when I saw real human bodies in the fitting room, I was like, oh my gosh, you have cellulite too, and you have stretch marks too. Like, man, I have stretch marks since I was 10 years old and I had a growth spurt. Like, those normal things, I think the more we continue in this direction, the more those will become a normal part of what we see. Kind of like what Ken was saying before, like, we can sort of celebrate the progress we've made so far while also admitting we've got more work to do here. And I think that the airbrushing and the photoshopping policies that are in place now are going to completely shift down the road. That being said, there are people who are posting pictures of themselves with no Photoshop. I feel like we're the same person. And also, people at stores who are posting that. So if you are So again, with influencers, if you're a store and you want to get on that train, you can look for those influencers who are doing the no Photoshop, and you can share their images as part of your own marketing to really commit to doing that yourself. You don't have to take photos of yourself in your underwear. And one final question, I think, probably. We're over anyway. What question?
Be stingy.
We have these lovely, wise people here for your enjoyment. No? Okay, great. Well, then I just want to thank everybody for coming. Again, we've got the contact information up here. We also have this where you can go to get some more information. I have some articles there with like basics of inclusivity, what it means, how to get started. Also, a lot of things from the Revealed magazine if you need some additional information, as well as everybody's contact information there too. So a big thank you and hooray for coming. And please stay afterwards and talk to us. We'll be down here to talk. Thank you.